What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and Marvel writer Dan Slott came out and said something pretty ridiculous about what you should do if you vote for the president, Donald Trump. Specifically, F you if you do that. Now, I don't really talk about politics on this channel, and I don't intend to today, but I do kind of want to talk about what this means. And this is only half the story that he came out and said this. As you can see, this is from Bounding Into Comics. Now, after Dan Slott came out and tweeted these things, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at his Twitter account. But guess what? I can't. I am blocked from Dan Slott's Twitter, which is kind of crazy. And then, then I saw this. A screenshot someone grabbed, thank you, was getting a large influx of online trolls responding to a Bounding Into Comics hit piece, and I had to run a blockchain on that account. If you feel you were unfairly swept up, have a friend tweet me your Twitter handle and I'll unblock you. Yeah, I'm sure he's really going to get right on top of that, unblocking all these people. Do you know why? Because Bounding Into Comics has over 10,000 followers. 10,000 followers. So you just blocked 10,000 comic book fans. A Marvel writer blocked 10,000 comic book fans on Twitter because of an article that was written about him from this account. I would imagine that if you're following Bounding Into Comics, you're probably a comic book fan. Maybe you're not a Marvel fan, who knows? But I'd have to imagine you have some interest in comics. Now, let's go back to this article that was actually written and see what all the fuss is about. Why Dan Slott would do something like this, and why Bounding Into Comics wrote this article. From John F. Trent. Marvel Comics Fantastic Four writer Dan Slott took to Twitter to attack President Donald Trump supporters. Slott wrote on Twitter, "This administration is not on top of this emergency." I'm assuming he's talking about the coronavirus, which I think everyone does feel like this is being blown out of proportion a little bit. At the same time, the things that we have to factor in are not necessarily the medical issues. It's going to be everything that cascades from that, in my opinion. But they're ignoring or contradicting their own experts. People are dying. And he's golfing his resort again and profiting off of it. It's not saying F you for voting for him. I am saying F you if you vote for him again. So a Marvel writer, a verified Twitter account, is saying go F yourself, F you, if you vote for Donald Trump. So basically half the country, half of your potential audience, Marvel Comics writer, is saying F you. Not the best way to go about it, but I'm sure Marvel has no issues with him saying that. They never have in the past. Let's read more. Voice actress Susan Eisenberg, who will be playing Sorceress in the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation series and previously voiced Wonder Woman, would concur with Slott writing, and yet people will still vote for him again, and nothing seems to change that. It's incomprehensible and insane to me. Half the people in this country are insane to you. Got it. Slott is no stranger for going after Trump. Recently, he accused the president of putting, quote, children in cages. Oh, yes. I wonder if he talked anything about that to the previous president who had the same policy. I donated to Warren. I would have voted for Warren, but here's the thing. Trump puts children in cages, puts his own ego before being truthful about the coronavirus vaccine, ignores the climate crisis, self-deals with our money, and is shredding our Constitution. I'll vote blue no matter who. Good to know. Good to know. And to be honest, I don't think there's anything wrong with this tweet. If I were someone working with a company as big as Marvel, I probably wouldn't, because there's no reason to put anything out there like that that could be that divisive. But at the same time, you're not saying F you to Trump supporters. You're just stating your beliefs. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Like I said, maybe unadvised if I had that high profile position, but I mean, he can do that. I don't have a big issue with it. The virus's best friends are Trump, his administration, and supporters who successfully dismantled and sabotaged all our best reasons. Sabotage, yeah. He's one of these people that's blaming Trump for the coronavirus, which is kind of just ridiculous and funny. Don't be distracted by the fact that Trump's administration is ripping off the Star Trek logo. That's noise. What's important? There are tapes of Trump plotting. So Dan Slott obviously is quite often going after Trump on Twitter. Again, nothing like going after this and saying, F you if you vote for him again. I think that that's a little bit ridiculous. And then you have support coming from, somewhere you would expect support to come from. And that is someone like Adam Lance Garcia, who replied to Dan Slott. I obviously can't see Dan Slott here, but when he said about bounding in the comics, that garbage site is quickly becoming the alt-right of comics. Ooh, these strong words. And of course, you may remember Adam Lance Garcia, who is maybe one of the biggest idiots in the world when it comes to his Star Wars takes. If you remember, we'll go to Disney Star Wars is Dumb. Ichi Baka wrote this years ago, I think. I guess I don't even know. Only 6 months ago. God, it seems like forever. He's the one who tweeted out, with all the clapping emojis, of course, Luke was never trained to fly an X-Wing, use a force pull, do lightsaber combat, do a force choke, build a lightsaber, and it doesn't matter, because this is a story about space wizards intended for children. Of course, it all comes back to something like that, and it's not really surprising, is it? It's not really surprising, because that's how a lot of these people think, that it's a story about space wizards intended for children. And of course, he's just completely wrong. We know, and Ichibaka does a great job saying that Luke Skywalker was trained to do all these things and points out specific examples, but they don't want to hear it. They just want to support Dan Slott, who blocked 10,000 comic book fans on Twitter, which is just crazy to me. Now, if I'm Marvel, and someone like Dan Slott, a writer like that, decided to alienate half of my potential audience, I would be pretty upset about that. But I think we've seen Marvel Comics and even DC Comics to a large extent not care about things like this. And that's a huge reason why their industry is dying, why comic books are struggling, why independent comics are kind of blowing up right now. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate for us as the consumer that we have people writing it that feel so comfortable coming out and saying how they feel about half of the audience, half of their consumer base, just because that's how you feel politically. Pretty disgusting, to be honest. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and talk politics on this channel, because this is a channel about pop culture, Star Wars, comics, that kind of thing, not about politics. But I think whenever you have someone take a stance like that, go F yourself if you vote for this person. Kind of turns you off to ever wanting to buy a product from him ever again. But I'm interested to hear your take. Let me know what you guys think about Dan Slott, Marvel writer, Fantastic Four, saying things like this. Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. I'll talk to you guys later.